Oh, it's great that dads are bonding with their daughters over football because of Taylor Swift. But I find this so annoying, y'all. Okay, just let me explain. This is a progress, but this is not the feel good story that it's meant to be. I find this really depressing. Like, this is how bad it is. Whether I'm like, yay, dads actually will spend time with their daughters now because the daughters are watching football. I want to get into this article in a second. But the reason why I care about this and I find this annoying is because it's not just me. I cannot tell you how many women I know who have watched more football in their childhood and adolescence and even into adulthood just to be close to their dads. People who didn't care about football, don't want to know, like literally are like only watch this game just to be near their dads because their dads will not do anything that their daughters like. I will never watch another football game in my life. I don't even watch the Super Bowl. I mean, I will if there's a reason to and there's a party, but I live in France, so they don't watch that crap here anyway. But I will, you could not pay me to watch another football game. I have watched way too many because I just wanted to be next to my dad. And that's what he wanted to do. And so many girls especially, a lot of boys bond with their dads over football. And whether those boys actually liked football or wanted to like football, I'm not even convinced that they like it. But because their dads like it, they're like, yeah, I love this. The Packers or whatever. Because it's an in. It's an in to feel cared about and connected to dad. But girls don't get that. Most men do not, like, they center themselves in their hobbies and what they want to do, right? So either join the club or go have fun riding bikes, because they can't be bothered. Giving up a Sunday night, Monday night, like that's a lot of time. Saturday, I cannot believe how much time football takes. And I'm talking about American football, but this goes for football too, because the football that the rest of the world knows of, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So many daughters. I know friends who hate Sunday because those are the days their boyfriends, dads, brothers, blah, disappear. They can never make plans because it's Sunday. So anyway, a lot of women and girls out there and children of fathers like this, regardless of gender, who are still trying to figure out why dad wanted to watch these men in tights tackling each other over talking to their own children, playing with their own children, engaging whatsoever with their own children. Do you know what a mind fork it is to feel jealous of a television and jealous of a group of men that you don't know, but your dad seems to care more about than you? Do you know what kind of mind fork that is? To be like, because it's stupid. You're like, why am I jealous of a football team? Because dad cares more about that. Plain and simple. Now, that doesn't mean dad doesn't love you, doesn't da 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 da. But men, so many men can't decenter themselves and their hobbies and their spare time. They cannot share it. So their number one priority is do what they want to do in their free time. And then everybody kind of gets, has to fill in accordingly. Now this is changing. I hope, as fathers are being forced to be more involved because the moms are like, I'm not doing all this. This is your child too. Don't babysit. Parent. But it's still bad. There's still so much to go. So anyway, I do love progress. I want to acknowledge that. We're going to see some progress in this, but this is the mindset we're grateful for breadcrumbs. And they wonder how we end up dating breadcrumbers. They wonder why so many women chase after unavailable men who don't give a crap about us. I wonder how'd that happen? How in the world did that happen? God! And then on a side note, we wonder why men expect their girlfriends to be their moms and do everything for them because, well, their mom did everything because dad wasn't there. Dad didn't feel like he had to. So my generation and, millennials and Gen X, sorry, Gen Z. A lot of people dating now are in a rude awakening because they're like, this isn't fair. And the men are like, why don't you want to do everything and also pay half the bills? What? My mom did it and she didn't complain. Fuck off. Fuck off. So this is the article. It's in the Washington Post. This is the writer. Since journalism is literally dying, it's terrifying right now. I say this as a journalist. Let's try to give credit to all the writers out there. But Eric, sorry, you're a dude, so y'all should have had a woman write this. I'm sorry. Because you're missing a lot of nuance. But I appreciate this article, appreciate the idea, and I'm so glad that this is talked about. But as a woman, I want to add more to this conversation, especially a woman who grew up with a football dad. I appreciate that right out of the gate, talking about how a lot of fathers, once their daughters become teenagers, they don't know how to relate to them as much. They don't know what to talk about. And that's, from what I understand, that's normal. I don't know. I only saw my dad on every other weekend, and he watched football the whole time. And then one week at Christmas and one week in the summer. But from what I understand, things get a little weird sometimes when the girls are teenagers. Not denying that. But also, why? Right? I think a lot of times it's because men are like, oh no, she's going to date. Oh no, men are going to treat her the way I treat women. Anyway, so now this dad, among many of them interviewed for this, is eager to share bits of gossip about, Travis with his daughter as an excuse to talk to her, bond with her. So then this dad is talking about he used to watch games alone. Why do you think that is? I mean, everyone should have their alone time, that's fine. And I'm not saying by any means that men should not be able to watch football or enjoy football or have hobbies or any of that thing. If you know my work, I'm literally please have some hobbies and have a life outside of your family because your wives are exhausted. My problem is that a lot of men at the same time center their hobbies and how much time these hobbies take and literally not think about anyone else in the family, especially their wives who are doing a lot of work so these men can do all this sitting around drinking, watching football, fantasy football. And while a lot of their kids are feeling very neglected. So this dad was while they're watching football, he's like, come here, give me a hug. He said for him, it's not just about enjoying sports with his kid. What I'm hoping is that our connection through Swifties and Kelsey and football, she won't be embarrassed or uncomfortable to talk to me about anything else. My question to him is, what would have happened if Taylor didn't start dating a football player? Oh, well, guess she's screwed. Do y'all think about this? Do you care? Well, maybe you could have asked her about Taylor Swift before she had to date a football player for you to even care. The fact that men didn't care at all about Taylor Swift, even if their daughters are obsessed with her, until Taylor started, dating a football player, right? Now they're like, whoa, a reason to talk to my daughter because it's still centered on a woman dating a man and it's all about football. So now it's about me and what I like rather than them making the effort to reach out to their daughters and pretend like they care. I've learned as a nanny and as an aunt, I don't care about the crap that my nieces talk about a lot of times, but you know what? I care about what they're saying because it's important to them. When you love somebody, even if you don't like it, if you truly love them, you actually really enjoy watching them and enjoy it. You love listening to them talk about it. You love seeing them just be passionate about something. But what happens with a lot of these dads and their hobbies is a lot of their daughters and their wives and their children who don't like sports especially hate this sport. And it has nothing to do with the sport, and it has everything to do with dad's relationship to the sport and his prioritizing of things. The man who doesn't have time to go to their recital or put them to bed or, talk to them, but will always make time for football. We pay attention to this. We may not be able to say, I don't feel loved because you don't spend enough time with me, but we just connect the dots. It's obvious. It's obvious to us. And it's so funny that it's not obvious to them. They won't make time to take their wives out on a date, but they never miss Sunday night football and Monday night football and Saturday day football. Screwed if they like college and the NFL. You know, a lot of these men, and we've seen videos all the time, they interview men and they're like, what's your daughter's birthday? Or what's your kids? Because it's not just daughters. I think it's worse with daughters a lot of times. Because the dads are so used to not thinking like anyone other than a cishet man or whatever it is, right? That they're like, it doesn't occur to them like, what might a girl want? No, I don't care. I don't know, right? The dads won't know their birthdays. They won't even know what school they go to. They won't know their dental, and they won't know anything. Even allergies, which is like deadly to not know your kids' allergies. They won't know any of that. But they know all the stats of their favorite players. They know all the injuries, the retirement dates, the stats, and God forbid they play fantasy football. That's a full-time unpaid job. Again, I have nothing against men having hobbies or liking football or any of that stuff. It's about prioritizing, and, time is value. Time is money. No, time is value. And when you spend all your time doing this one thing and very little time talking to this person that you literally created but won't parent, well, those people start to take it personally. Look at this. I definitely have an excuse to text her more or call her more than I did in the past. That's great. I love that you're texting her and calling her more, but why did it take Taylor Swift getting a boyfriend for this to happen? Are y'all not embarrassed by this? Like, I know it's a feel-good thing, but the standard of what makes a good, caring dad is so on the floor. It's so low. And then again, they wonder, why do women have such, low standards? But even our low standards are too high. God forbid we ask you to take us on a date and pay for it. Look, his daughter's says that she watches the games because she has to be a supportive Swiftie. So now now understands the offensive line, tight end positions, blah. I didn't have a band or a person, whatever, a musician that I followed. So I can't relate to watching football because of my favorite singer. But I get why a lot of girls who are upset, who are Swifties are some of the most focused, intense fans I have ever met in my life as a collective. And I'm not criticizing Swifties, okay? Because some of y'all are really mean when anyone says anything about Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent, right? But a lot of girls, especially young girls, are literally watching football because of her. But it's all only because she's dating some dude, which I also find is kind of weird. I get it. I get why the people are so, they want her, especially if they love her, they want her to have love. They want her, you know what I mean? Love is a great thing. People love seeing healthy love, right? So I get it. But the amount of support that the NFL gets because of Taylor Swift and the enormous amount of power that she has to send people to anything she cares about. It's an enormous amount of power, and I respect. She's one of the most influential, if not the most influential people in the world. But the NFL is trash, y'all. Racist. They enable men who beat up their wives, even unalive their wives. It is one of the most dirtiest, most messed up organizations. They don't care about men, especially black men. They don't care about women. They don't pay their cheerleaders. It is literally a microcosm of everything wrong in the United States. So the NFL can suck it, right? The organization. Don't have anything against the fans unless you're a dad who sucks and ignores your daughter and your kids and your wife. But I just think it's so funny the NFL is now benefiting off of Taylor Swift dating someone in the NFL. And how all these women and girls are supporting the NFL and they're buying their tickets and they're buying their jerseys and stuff to support her. And then the NFL and the fans, the guys are like, oh, screw you, get her off the screen. What's happening right now? It is so telling of all the problems in our culture. It's just a man and a woman dating, a woman who wants love, but the things that are happening because of this couple is insane to me. Not insane, just normal. But it's very telling of what patriarchy And all these systems come together what it looks like because of the way these men hate Taylor Swift being on the Jumbotron. Even though the New York Times posted that her average screen time isn't even a minute. They're like, get her off the screen. And then all these bros on the internet are like, there's no way Taylor Swift is more popular than the NFL. Nobody knows what the NFL is outside of the United States. Nobody! And if they do, it's only because of Taylor Swift. Or maybe Tom Brady, but probably because of his beautiful wife who finally dumped his butt because he wouldn't retire because he sucks as a dad. Okay, whatever. Maybe he doesn't suck as a dad. But, okay, that's another video. Like, I love this tweet I saw today. This is the handle. Okay, I'm going to give credit, but it cut off their name, but it's at the Zeets. One of the funniest things about this NFL season is truly a bunch of dudes throwing tantrums over the camera, cutting to Taylor Swift every now and then. Again, less than a minute. You talk about NFL games that have a million commercials for like 15 minutes of the game action, but this is the line, cutting to this stupid lady who sings. So back to this article, another dad says, if it's a way for me to connect closer with my daughter, I'll take every advantage I can. I appreciate this sentiment. This is what we need. Dads to actually care about their daughters because, God, if I have to see one more gender reveal party where a man is like, God, and just starts stabbing the balloon because he's so mad he's got a stupid girl. Like, we know y'all don't want girls unless you just want somebody who's going to take care of you and worship you. Like somebody to, because a lot of these dads are doing that. We don't talk about enough about that. But anyway, so I love dads looking for a reason to bond with their daughters, but why does it have to be on your territory? Why does it have to be about what you like? Can't you go and pretend to like ballet or gymnastics or whatever she likes? Like, they won't do that. Daughters have to come to the men. And they can bond over what dad likes. It's so messed up, y'all. And yet, as somebody with a father wound that's still healing, I was like, oh, I wish my dad would say something like that. The bar's in hell for dads and husbands. I just want to also call attention to how much all these Swifties are putting money in the pockets of the NFL people. They should be forever grateful to Taylor Swift. Look at this. Ratings went up 53% for girls in this because don't care about this usually. Because there's no good role models in football. Even the cheerleaders who are unbelievably athletic and strong are getting exploited and schmegulized and have to wear the most ridiculous outfits. There's one guy in here they interviewed and he was so close to the point. So close. You know, the son of a football coach. Now a father of 2 girls. Doesn't regret playing, but sometimes feels like his father imposed his interests onto him. And as he became older and played professionally, he began viewing it as more of a job than a passion. So we got some unresolved daddy issues that made him get into football, right? And then, like, what is that? But he still spends Sundays, one of the days of the weekend, only 2 days in a weekend, assuming he has a normal job, probably ignoring his family. The daughters didn't even know it was called football. They thought it was called Go Niners. That's how not interested they are in this sport. Until now, thanks to a woman. This is kind of weird. At first, he didn't tell his daughters that Swift was going to game in case they broke up, a scenario that probably find its way into her lyrics. He didn't want to tell her she's dating a football player because then Taylor Swift's probably going to talk crap about the football player and you didn't want anybody talking crap about it. That's what I'm guessing this is what this paragraph means. Maybe I'm wrong. But once he saw that she's a supportive fan, flies all over the place to go support this man. He's like, okay, now I'll tell her. And now they watch together. They make up songs together. I love my daughter because she will do what I want. Because I don't care what she likes unless it's about me. Look at this. There isn't a better feeling. Not because she's interested in football, but because she wants to spend time with me. That should not be a compliment, bro. She doesn't want to hang out with you unless Taylor Swift is involved. Dustin's just happy he has more company during games. Y'all, you know what's really sad to me is that men could feel love if they would just make an effort, if they would just try. It's so sad to me that men, this is where like the selfishness of patriarchy, it hurts men too. Never anywhere near as much as going to hurt women and all the people who are harmed by men. Now, men love to center themselves as the true victim of patriarchy, and those dudes can fuck off. But this is what they miss out on. There isn't a better feeling. My daughter wanted to spend time with me. Do you know you could get that without this? You could get that. If you invested time and interest and energy and care and thoughtfulness and curiosity and asked her about herself and were consistent and didn't take it personally when she didn't want to hang out with you, but you kept trying anyway, but were always respectful of her time and her. But so many men, they're just like, whatever. I guess I just won't have a relationship with my daughter. But me and my son, we'll go to games. Meanwhile, their sons are terrified of them and their daughters feel neglected by them. I'm making huge generalizations. But maybe this will be an opening. They'll get a taste of what it's like to sit with their daughter during something and bond over something. And then they'll be like, what a great feeling. What else can I do? Because if this is where it ends, just watching football, like what happens if Taylor dumps this dude or he dumps her or something happens? I guess the connection's on. You and daughter are going to go back to separate lives because, she doesn't like football, then work off. What's crazy is that a lot of these girls are even watching this dude's podcast. You cannot pay me to watch a man's podcast. I'm so tired of men's podcasts. Even like ones with men who are doing good stuff. I'm just so tired of men talking at this point. And the men who are doing really good work, I appreciate what they're doing, but I don't want to listen to them. Like I'm not their audience. But all these teenage girls and all these women are watching this dude's podcast only because of Taylor Swift and fully committing to the fandom of his football team just because of Taylor. Like, I would love to know the stats on what their YouTube podcast, whatever thing. I would love to know how much more money they're making just because he started dating her, which is why I'm always like, I really hope this man loves her because he's the one benefiting so much from being linked to her. His social capital went brilliant move. I hope he loves her. And then finally, they covered, the fathers were like annoyed with men. They bristled at the detractors. They're annoyed with men who hate Taylor Swift being there. But that's because these men are benefiting from it. If they didn't have daughters, they'd probably be out there being like, God, get that lady off the Jumbotron. But, a lot of men can't see women as humans until they actually have daughters. They still will never see their wife as a full human being with her own dreams and hopes and a life outside of him. But once their daughters are born, they're like, oh, let's protect her from the la 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 la. That's why any man who's like, I have a daughter, and that's like, and then, that's their springboard to making some feminist stuff. I'm like, fork off. You didn't care about women until you had a daughter. You don't count. Like, we love your support, but it's conditional. Or you're late to the party. Glad you're here, but like, shut up. Don't talk to me. Go talk to the other bros who still hate us. But I did like this insight. They're jealous. Yeah. All the men hate us because they're jealous. That's always why they hate us. It always comes down to jealousy. Dustin says that they're knucklehead people that aren't adapting to a world in which women are leaders. I agree. But Dustin, I need you to take this a little bit farther. I need you to start thinking of a world that doesn't center dad. That's your homework assignment. Because, he loves independent modern thinkers. That's what they preach in this house. I'm curious how much of the mental load, emotional labor, domestic labor, and all the other things that he does at home. If he's doing all that, then yay, Dustin. But still, I really wish that you had made more effort to connect with your daughter without her having to come to you because of football, something you like. Remember, you're the parent, Dustin. You're the parent. That's your job. And then one of the guys was talking about how his daughter is a little easier on him now because she likes football. She doesn't mess with him as much. Do you know why she's messing with you? It's called, you're my dad and I love you, so this is a passive-aggressive way of me saying, like, I wish you'd spend time with me. But you probably can't hear that, so then I'll just make fun of football and be mad at football instead of tell you right into your face, I don't feel loved or cared for because of how much time you spend watching this. That's why your daughter's messing with you. It's not just because she's just joshing around and she's a little prankster. If you really want to change the world and you have a daughter and you're a father, we're fine without y'all at this point. We're so used to you not being around. But if you don't want your daughter to date trash, if you don't want your daughter to get forked by the patriarchy, it starts in the home, bro. It starts in the home. Don't wear the girl dad shirt. We don't need you at protests, although that's nice. We need you to treat your wife and your daughter like they're just as important as you. And we need you to do that at work. And we need you to role model that for your sons and for your daughters. Because otherwise, you don't care about women. If you cannot do this stuff in the home, you don't. The personal is political. Find something that has nothing to do with you to bond with your daughter over. And also watch football with her.